Felicitations! It is me, Felicia Day, and this is my podcast. Welcome! Can you hear my dulcet tones better? I'm in my sound booth. It does sound a lot better. Also, I'm recording at night, so there's no gardeners, there's no dogs, there's no, hopefully, sirens, in which case I might have to leave if there are sirens too close. But I'm very happy. I'm trying to be a little more disciplined, and I did move the computer back in here because my kiddo is not using my desktop anymore, and boy, oh boy, is it quiet and beautiful. I hope your ears are loving it. So, it is podcast number 63, still in beta. When am I going to take it out of beta? I don't know. Maybe soon. Am I ready to commit? It's only been 4 years. Boy, oh boy. I want to give a shout out to my book, y'all, right up the top, because if you haven't gotten the book at FeliciaDayBook.com, Embrace Your Weird is a perfect book to be revisiting right now, or getting in the first place, now that we are opening up from COVID. I just was thinking about how I wrote that book kind of at a turning point in my life where I was kind of wondering what to add back into my life, what to take away, where did I want to go, and what I could do to make myself a little happier, creativity-wise. And so I think a lot of the exercises and maybe lessons or funny jokes in there might apply to a lot of people's worlds right now. And while you're still a little bit sequestered, it's a fun time to dive in. Anyway, just want to give me a shout out because I did work hard on it, and the cover is very pretty. Well, I am the doghouse though, and I want to tell you that. I'm sorry. I missed a newsletter last week, and it was really, I was feeling a little overwhelmed, and I just had to cut something out. And in cutting it out, I felt really upset because I really like doing it. I hope you are all subscribed to it at felicitations.substack.com. I'm thinking about moving servers because Substack does some kind of shady stuff, but in the end, I'm, just on their platform, and they are sending it out for free for me, so why not? I do like their interface too. So we'll see. But I promise I will get a new one out next week. Honestly, it just got to the point where I was very myopically focused. That's what I get for saying myopically, because honestly, that is not an accessible word to any other human being. I was very carefully focused on my writing last week. I was so enveloped in a writing project I'm working on. It's a proposal for something that I would love to send out and people pay me to write the rest of. If not, I will write it myself because I am literally so passionate about it. And it really made me so happy, y'all, because I am kind of an obsessive person, but I haven't been able to be obsessive about anything lately. Even video games. I was kind of really into GTA, and I was really into Assassin's Creed, Odyssey, but I don't really have that thing to focus on right now, and I was able to put it on my writing for I don't know, maybe the first time in a really long time, because I don't have any sort of desperation or anxiety around it. I'm just letting myself write at my own pace, and it is so glorious. So I didn't want to stop. So, and because, I have a kiddo, I don't have as much time to write. So it's like those 3 or 4 hours a day where I can really concentrate on thinking and giving myself the time to not just rush through something, but to really get it done. Boy, oh boy, it was a very big pleasure. So all last week I was working on the outline for this thing, and it was all-encompassing and beautiful. And I did do 15,000 other things, but as far as my creativity and my writing time, I devoted it to finishing this writing. And I'm happy for that, but I do apologize for missing my newsletter. I'm getting very attached to that newsletter, and I have to tell you, having a regular habit of collecting links, kind of gathering my thoughts, writing an essay every week, it is so wonderful. I really urge y'all, if you have a creative dream, just get on a schedule. Like, honestly, if I wasn't accountable to other people and didn't feel guilty because even 3 people on my Discord were like, "Where's the newsletter this week?" I'm like, "Oh no, what did you do, Day? You dropped the ball, lady." So I'm going to get on the wagon, and I will not miss it again. I just need to write a little bit more in advance because I do spend a lot of time on that newsletter. It takes me like 2 days to put it together. 2 of my writing days, which I get like 3 or 4 hours a day, like I said. So I put a lot of thought into that essay, and I really hope that some of you are getting things from it. love to have any requests about things you'd like to hear about, but a lot of it is just me trying to share things that are important to me, and just like I do here. Although this is more wandery, clearly, because I don't edit it for 3 or 4 hours. I literally record it and release it. So, hey, welcome to Trash Talk Podcast. My name is Felicia Day, and I put no effort into this. It's called beta for a reason. Anyway, I did have a very exciting experience last week with my other podcast, Undressing Bridgerton. It is because we interviewed Adjoa Ondo, who plays Lady Danbury in the show. My favorite, my bae, the doyenne. She is so good. And y'all, you will not believe it because in the interview, it is very clear that she is not that character. She is such an incredible actress and her voice is so good. And she was promoting an Andre Norton book, The Escarp Cycles, that she just released through Podium, who did my book, Rule of Cool. If y'all heard that, I recorded for Podium and she recorded for Podium, and they said, hey, do you want to interview her? I heard you have a Bridgerton. And we were like, heavy breathing, yes. Tom Lank, though, my partner. I mean, y'all know how I kind of freak out. Something flips a switch in me when I get nervous and I'm out of control. I can't control my reactions. I act in a very idiotic manner. I think that Tom is the opposite as me in that he reacts when he gets excited. He lost it, y'all. I posted on Instagram just the Zoom. He edited it. He does all that editing and all the pictures, and he gave me this little thing about the beginning, and his face is like he's never seen anything more beautiful in his life. He is stunned. It was like a fairy tale when the Prince Charming looks at Cinderella when she walks into the ball. He was practically panting. And he just did so much research about her career. I really hope y'all give it a listen. Even if you don't watch Bridgerton, we actually didn't talk about Bridgerton very much. She's just an incredible person, an actor, an artist, and I learned so much, and I'm so excited for the opportunity. Then Tom and I spent 3 hours debating what to do with that podcast because we kept going back and forth. So I will cut to the chase and say that we are starting a new feed for Undressing Witcher. So next week we will be launching that feed and starting watching The Witcher on a different feed. Because honestly, everyone said keep it on the same feed. But it sounds absolutely ridiculous to do Undressing Bridgerton, Witcher, episode 1. Because some people who like Bridgerton might not like Witcher. And then they'll stop listening. And then what are we going to do with Bridgerton until season 2? Well, if we get an interview with a cast member, that would be awesome. But in general, that's not going to be accessible for us because we don't have millions of listeners. So, and I was like, well, I just want to have fun with you, Tom. And he was like, I want to have fun with you, Felicia. So we just decided, hey, we want to watch The Witcher and make fun of Gerald and just swoon over his eyes and make fun of his wig and then swoon a little bit more because we love the show. And a rewatch would be quite fun for both of us. So that's what we decided to do. So if we decide to undress things in the future, I will just pay the little $15 fee or however much the hosting is a month extra to start the feed. And we'll ask, we might put a Ko-Fi or something up just for that podcast, or I don't know. We'll figure it out. And we just want to make something fun and hope that y'all enjoy listening to us because we just enjoy each other's company and you seem to enjoy us too. All right. What else I do? I spent 4 hours this week trying to hook up an Oculus to stream. We are doing a sponsored stream on Monday, the 10th, of Demio, which is a Oculus game that is similar to, it's pretty cool, y'all. And I would not play the game if I didn't really like it. It is essentially kind of a D&D game in VR that you can play with 4 people. So, but it's like you're moving the minis through an actual, table, effects like mountains and dungeons. It's kind of like Diablo meets D&D with a card building game. I don't know. We're playing it on Monday on my Twitch channel from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. So come on over. We meaning me and 3 guildies. But I had to spend the week, and I'm not kidding. It has taken several days to figure out how do I stream the Oculus to my computer out to Twitch with 3 other people, getting all the sound to work. It is a technical nightmare. But you know what? I cracked it and I feel really good for it. So I was super resentful that I had to do it. I was like, Felicia, what did you agree to do? This is ridiculous. You could be streaming your own stuff. And that now I feel so accomplished. I feel so good about myself. So yeah, even if you don't want to do something, do it and then just be self-righteous about it. That's my lesson there. It seems like the world is opening up, and going back to my book, I thought about my book just because I'm doing a little speech thing for someone this week, but also just kind of thinking about opening up the world, and everyone's just kind of crawling into my inbox and asking me to do something and presenting opportunities. I'm like, I don't know who I am anymore a little bit. I have a better sense of myself than I did 3 years ago when I wrote that book, or is it 2 years ago? I don't even know where the years are. I just know that it would be a nice time to revisit who I am and what my priorities are before I start jumping into the pool with all these people offering me opportunities like, business things and writing things. And on top of all of that, conventions. Oh, conventions, y'all. Are you going? What do I do? I don't know. Just getting on a plane feels a little bit intimidating. I'm getting my second vaccine tomorrow, and I'm going to get my hair done the day after that. I might wax my mustache next week. Who knows? It could be the whole gamut. I ate some cheesecake, so clearly my diet isn't starting. I'm not talking about diet. I'm just talking about, Felicia, have you worked out this week? No. Oh. Well, that's my failing. Anyway, yeah, what do we do about conventions? What do you think we should do? I mean, are you going? Are you nervous? Here's what I don't want to do, y'all. I don't want to go and be 20 feet away from somebody behind plexiglass and that was my jaw. Did you hear that pop? I don't want to be there. Then I might as just figure out how to do talking to people online, right? I don't know. Because I go there to meet people who inspire me, and then that inspires me to do more creativity, which hopefully they like, and then it's just this wonderful circular thing where that in-person interaction really feeds me as a creator, right? I mean, yes, it supports me, but I wouldn't do it unless I really creatively was able to walk away and be so excited to make new things, different ways, doing things outside the box, making people smile, and enriching their lives. That's all I care about. And that's why I really want to fly around. But if I'm going to risk myself and fly around, is that opportunity and that experience going to be a good one? Or am I going to feel like I'm in a cage? I don't want that. So I just have to ask more questions. I know as the year goes on, it's going to be a little more lenient. We'll all get used to it. We'll all have methodologies to be safe, but also have a semblance of normalcy. But right now it's sort of, like I said before, it's the puberty of COVID. So we're in that awkward, sort of weird, stage where we aren't really sure where we are and who we are. Our bodies are weird shapes now. We don't know. We don't really know how to act or what we want, but we're kind of just want to get out there. But I don't know. It's hard. So I'm just wondering what to do. And I feel like the best thing for all of us to do is plant ourselves in place until we're ready to move. Because if we let the tide sweep us away, we're going to get anxious. We're going to agree to do things that we don't want to do. We're going to get swept back into patterns of behavior that maybe not good for us, but, we just kind of put our hands up and let ourselves be pushed along by other people needing things from us or wanting us to do things or feeling like we have to do them because we used to do them and why not now? So, yeah, again, I think I've talked about this before, but as we move toward a more liberal world, safely, I think that it's really upon all of us to kind of use all of it as an opportunity to take more control of our lives and our time, because it is precious. Our lives are precious. We are precious. And we have a lot to offer the world, but we can't offer the world everything. So, yeah. That's all. That's all that happened to me the last 2 weeks. I've been, just hanging. I hope y'all have had good weeks as well. I hope you've been doing things that are fulfilling. Mother's Day is this weekend. So I want to send all the mothers out there all the best wishes. We deserve this. Oh, yeah, we do. It has been a hell year. And I know I don't want to discount any fathers. All parents have had a lot of burdens on their shoulders this year. I think that disproportionately women have had to leave the workforce in a way. If you look at all the statistics of how many women are now out of the workforce because they had to be home, somebody had to be home, and inevitably perhaps their job was more flexible, or they were their lower paying job, and so they had to sacrifice. So a lot of women have lost a lot about themselves and gained a lot as well, but it's been a lot of seismic changes in their lives. And I just want to give a shout out to all the women who have gone through this year, homeschooling their kids, taking care of all this extra housework and the stresses on you from being cut off from your family and your support groups, from all the anxiety about taking your kids away from the things you think are enhancing their lives, especially if you have special needs kids. My goodness, so much has been on your shoulders to try to keep some semblance of normalcy and schedule in your lives. And I just want to give you a shout out. You're doing great. You did your best. You're doing your best, and it is totally good enough. Our kids, the fact that you're even thinking about, am I being a great mom, means you're a good mom. All right? I don't think bad moms have that much self-reflection, or they wouldn't be bad. And I mean, I wouldn't say that generally, but I would say that a lot of people who are doing things that are not great for other people aren't really only focusing on themselves and their needs and not others. And you're not doing that. You're concerned about your kids. But I do want to say, please take time out for yourself. The same with Father's Day. Like, mothers, take a couple hours. Buy yourself an eyeshadow palette. Eat a really, really good croissant. Do something just for an hour. Take a walk in a park or the woods by yourself. Do something that feels self-indulgent, that has nothing to do with your kids. I literally was asked, what do you want to do on Mother's Day? And I was like, I don't know, we can go to the playground. I was like, Felicia, that is not for you. That is absolutely not for you. What do you want to do for your birthday? We could go to Legoland. Nope, not for you. Okay, we got a couple of days in a year, our birthdays and Mother's Day, to really be self-centered a-holes. All right, this is us. We deserve it. So do something awesome and tell me about it on Twitter. Okay? Even if it's just an hour of like knitting in a park. Like, honestly, be indulgent and eat some chocolate. Okay. I read a lot of books this week. I reread a lot of highlighted parts of Into the Woods by John Yorke. I know I've talked about this book a lot, but every time I start a new project, I reread the highlights that I've made in this book because I find it to be the most invaluable writing book that I've ever read. It really talks about structure of screenplays, but also you could translate it to books. And this structure should be from character. This is why everybody hates the Game of Thrones last season, because the plot was driving the characters. And characters were doing things because the plot needed them to do them, but they were not organic to who they were, or they were too abrupt. So what is lovely about this book is that it really links character growth and arcs to structure. And so I read it again because I'm really into writing this outline, and I have found that the more homework you can do in the outline version, the better you are in before you go into writing whatever it is, whether it's a novel or a screenplay or a graphic novel or a scripted podcast, whatever it is that you're writing, the structure, you gotta, it's like building a house, right? You put the foundation in, you put the wood up, you cover that wood up, you put whatever is on the wood to protect the house, and then you start getting to the nitty gritty. So don't jump from foundation to how does that light socket look? No, don't do it. And that's what I used to do. So step by step, brick by brick, beat by beat. So this book is wonderful. And so if you're a writer, I highly urge you to pick it up. It's very, very well known amongst TV writers especially, but I find it applies to everything because it makes you think about your character and what kind of person they are and what you want them to go through. And so anyway, that's my advice. I also read a short novella by Tamsyn Muir, who wrote Gideon the Ninth, and you'll remember that I raved about that book and the sequel. Well, she did a very cute little novella called Princess Floralinda and the 40 Flight Tower. Boy, that's hard to say. Princess Floralinda and the oh boy. Princess Floralinda and the 40 Flight Tower. Bravo me! Yes. So it's really fun. It's about a princess in a tower, and it's very, very funny. And I hope everyone likes it. That's all. My computer just shut down for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, good. I'm back. So I also read Legendborn by Tracy Deon. Now you'll remember that she was a guest on Women Are, that panel show that I did about women in certain career choices, and she was in the storyteller one. I love this book. I never got around to reading her book. I read like the first chapter and I was like, this is great. And I've been trying to sweep up things that are on my Kindle because I'm trying to resist buying new books. But so the Floralinda had been on my Kindle for a long time, and Legendborn was there. I actually bought the physical book for that. Try to buy more physical books from, indie booksellers instead of Amazon, but I'm sorry, the Kindle is so easy, so sometimes I slip up and impulse buy. Legendborn is so good. If y'all like a good urban fantasy with a chosen one, but not really a chosen one, but a mystery and sort of a secret society. If you read The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, it's kind of similar. It's set in a college campus. There are all these secrets, but I really identified with this because she's a Southern writer, so a lot of the cultural things really resonate with me. And the lead character is a younger character who goes to this early college program at a college. And that was my dream. And I ended up going to college at 16, just like this character. So anyway, it's a really good book. It's just really good. And it has some really diverse characters in it that you wouldn't see in this genre, which is even a bonus on top of a bonus. Highly recommended. And then my last book I've been reading, and I'm kind of in the middle of right now. Again, I recommended this book just because I read a little bit of it, but I polished it off, and it is really good. Four Lost Cities by Annalee Newitz. She was one of the creators with Charlie Jane Anders of io9.com, and I love their podcast together. And Annalee Newitz is just amazing, and she researched this book really well. She's so intellectual, and she approaches things from a really thoughtful manner, and it made me think about urban life and city life in a really interesting context. The four cities are a city in Turkey that had like one of the first inhabited big cities they found in Turkey, and then Pompeii and Angkor Wat, and all these. It's just really interesting. I'm sure you all know about my obsession with the End of Civilizations. The Fall of Civilizations podcast is my favorite podcast. So he's done an episode about many of these societies, a couple of them at least. So it was really cool to like just be reminded of that history and the context. And, we could be in the middle of the decline of the United States. We don't know because we're in the middle of it, right? And that kind of perspective, time is so malleable, and it's so fascinating to think that, yes, people are in a city that eventually was abandoned 200 years later, and that seems like not a long time when we're talking 9,000 years ago. But to us, living right now, if we are in the middle of a collapse of a civilization, we're never going to know, right? So it's really fascinating. It kind of makes you think about time and how we look at it, how we use it. It's easy to kind of zoom out a little too far and think about, oh yeah, in 9 billion years, the sun's going to disappear. I'm kind of depressed right now. It's right around the corner. It's like, no, no, Felicia, do not think like that. I can't help it. So all those books, highly recommended. Grab them at the library, whatever. I've been using my library a lot more and I love it. So amazing resources. And thank you, librarians, for weathering this whole year too. I really hope y'all are back in business safely in the libraries, and hopefully, especially kids, are being enriched by your awesome work. Oh, once again. For TV, I finished, finally, I'm done with Pottery, okay? I'm done with it. I finished Great Pottery Throwdown Season 4. It was amazing. I want to go pot right now. None of the places in LA are open to go potting, but I really want to take my kiddo, and I want to get on that wheel and do some wheel work and realize, wow, all of these people are way more talented than you even gave them credit because you've never tried to do this. Well, once I did it. It was hard. Remember it was a vlog episode and Amy Okuda was in it, and she threw this beautiful pot and I could only make it this warped mess that just looks so sad. Yeah, I don't want to be reminded of that. I also watched most of Shadow and Bone, which Tom Lake and I were talking about doing a rewatch of, but I don't know if I want to rewatch it. I really, really love the world building. I think some of the world building in the pilot was a little confusing, but because I had read the books, I was like in it. I love, love, love the Six of Crows side, the heist side. The casting is immaculately wonderful. And I mean, Ben is his name back? Or, I don't know. Ben, the broody guy. Ugh, so hot. I love the casting. Alina, the lead character, kind of irritates me. I don't know, y'all. She kind of just hangs around and doesn't make things happen. And it really irritates me. And it is a good lesson for me when I was writing my other thing that has a female, it's just a lead, any female lead. But when you're dealing with this kind of romancy stuff, this is why I didn't really love the character in the book either. She kind of has things happen to her and doesn't make things happen. The TV shows, I think it does a great job. It's just, sometimes I'm like, stop talking with these schoolgirls and get it done. Be a little more curious. They'll have one scene with her in a library. I'm like, get back in the library, girl. You know you love it. I'm going to finish it because I really do like it, but I don't know if I want to rewatch it. I don't know if we have enough to talk about it. So we're doing The Witcher. We're doing a new feed. I'll link it in the thing. It's not quite up yet, so it'll be up next week. Linky. They are really hot together, though. The chemistry between the cast is so good. I don't care what's on screen. I want to be honest with you. It's a good escapist piece of TV. And I don't know, I haven't really felt like that since Bridgerton. Netflix is really knocking it out of the park, Amazon had Good Omens, which was really good. And nobody else has really hooked me on a TV show except for Pottery. So I challenge you, TV. Interest me. I've been playing this game called Littlewood, and I just want to give it a shout out. I don't think I mentioned it last week. Who knows? It is so fun. It's a mix between Stardew Valley and Animal Crossing in a way that is so wonderful. I think it's out on Switch now. Anyway, it's fabulous. I think you're going to like it. And it's one of those things where you're like, good, I have an assignment. Let's get this done. You can romance people in it. It almost checks the box of every single thing. They just were like, what's good about Stardew Valley? What's good about Animal Crossing? Let's put them in one game and just go. I'm fine with it. That's a formula I can get on board with. I don't need everything to be totally original, although it has some really original things. I highly recommend it, and it's not that expensive. It's like $19. All right, I'm going to get into some questiones, and I want to give a shout out to Sean Sandalookie Look, my mod here. I know he just started a new job, and he has been a little swamped and still makes time to help with this podcast. I want to thank you, Sean. This episode's dedicated to you, buddy. Iris Nostalgica asks, what's your MBI type? Myers-Briggs personality type. Okay, listen. Personality quizzes are fun. I wrote about them in my biography. They are super fun. They are not to be taken seriously. But, of course, I've done Myers-Briggs. I have the rarest one. I am an INFJ. So, that is introverted. N. I forget what that one's called. Feeling. And justified. No? Judgmental. That's it. What is the N? I don't know. Whatever it is, it means I'm compassionate and highly empathetic. I focus on ideas and people, not analytically, for sure. I'm very feeling driven. So, yes. It is, I'm an empath, and I could definitely say that I'm hypersensitive to what other people think and how they're feeling. 100% counselors, advocates, doers. I'm a doer, which, yeah, okay, sometimes. If it comes to making a dentist appointment, I'm not a doer. I'll tell you that right now. I had my car on the street with a flat tire for 3 weeks. I found a place. Well, it wasn't a flat tire. It had a temp tire, but I didn't want to drive on it because I'm nervous because it looks like a child's tire. And so I didn't drive my car for 3 weeks. Finally, I was like, I got to use my car. So I found a 10-minute tire change, and I went down there. It took 7 minutes, and they changed my tire. They patched my tire, put it back on. That is what you get for procrastination. You feel stupid because you waited so long for something so dumb. I don't know what that has to do with INFJ. So I don't know. I would, you know what? This is the thing about tarot cards, about horoscopes, about any of these things. Use them as a vehicle to inspire yourself about who you are. Don't use them as a solution. They're not, okay? But use them as something to get in touch with what resonates with you. So if you feel like you're a compassionate person, like that can be a little bit of a resonance. Oh yeah, okay. Well, how are you classifying compassionate? Well, yeah, I do feel like this, and I feel like this too. It has been proven that Myers-Briggs is not scientific, okay? It's trash like everything else. But when I sit down sometimes and I draw 3 tarot cards and I ask it a question and I put 3 cards down for the past and the present and the future about this, I use that as sort of a catalyst to, oh, interesting. All right, so, well, you know, it was a turning point. I guess the past card is telling me that was a turning point. You know what? That was a turning point. And so I gained some insight into my life that has nothing to do with these cards. They're not sent by somebody to give them to me to have some great insight. They're just there for me to think introspectively and examine my feelings, because honestly, we don't do it enough. Although I examine my feelings 24/7. Hence the INFJ. Full circle. Clevesmill. Hey, Clevesmill. Asks, what is your Star Wars lightsaber color and why? Okay, y'all. So when my baby turned 2, I took her to, or 3, I took her to Disneyland. And it was wonderful. I went with my friends, Annie and Ryko, and we went and got Ryko, because his birthday is the day before my baby's. You might watch him on streaming on Twitch, Rykops. He's my best friend, pretty much. And so we went there to celebrate the communal birthdays. And so basically, he went and built a lightsaber. I wanted to really badly, but at the time, I was really in mom mode. And I was like, okay, Felicia, you don't need a lightsaber. The baby's just going to break it. And you don't need one. You already have so much crap around the house. The baby has 15,000 places to sit on, okay? You don't need something else cluttering up the house. You can bet the next time I go there, I'm going to get me a lightsaber. But I will tell you that over the years, I have, you know, they have the lightsaber booth at certain conventions, and they have way more colors there than they do at the Star Wars place in Disneyland. Although the ceremony of building your lightsaber is amazing. I will tell you, it is 100% worth it. It feels very official. It's very fun. You really get to custom tailor your lightsaber to your personality. So when I was there was a very natural, like almost druid-like lightsaber there with a green color, and it was gorgeous. But if I were to get my ideal color lightsaber, it would be orange, because I love fire. I'm not a pyromaniac, but I do, whenever I play an elemental spellcaster, it's fire, baby. And I love fire monster. You know, I just love it. I love the fire areas in Mario, and I love it. It's so bright and vibrant, and I just feel like a fiery person inside. I act very watery on the outside, but inside I've got a lot of fire. Rawr. Don't be creepy. So that's my answer to that. Really good questions this week. And please send me more. I'm going to have a guest on next week. And I know I said that last time. I know. Time got away from it. It's been a tough couple weeks. But I am in process of a bunch of writing stuff, y'all. One of the things actually is going to get made. Woo woo! So I will have a Felicia Day thing out. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And I have waited 2 years for it to happen. I'm so excited. So I will let you know everything about it. Believe me, I will be in your face. Lyle Bowley in Discord. You've mentioned that you acted in theater productions before. How do you like it at the time and retrospectively? Would you want to act on stage again? What was your favorite role you had and one you'd always wanted to have? Okay, I was just thinking about this. Thank you for bringing it up, because, again, y'all know that I left my acting agents and managers and everyone a year before quarantine, and I just needed to take some time off. I didn't feel like they understood me. They were very nice people, just weren't, people can be awesome. You just might not work well together, and that's fine. So I took some time off, and then because of COVID, I took another year off, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, maybe you should get back to acting. And I'm like, do I want to? Again, going back to my book, Do I really like this? Is it joyful? And I think the commoditization of me as an actress has kind of drained the joy of it, because a lot of it is just audition after audition after audition, not getting roles, not really actually being able to act, just auditioning, which is completely different. It's not my character. I don't own it. I don't really get the chance or the bandwidth or the space or rehearsal time to actually own it. And so you feel like you're doing kind of a half-ass kind of job every time for auditions. Or even if you do your best and you don't get it, you're like, well, that wasn't nice. So I was thinking about the fact, like, maybe I should figure out if I like it. And I think that might entail going back to, I don't know if I could do a play in LA. It feels, I don't even know if that, it's a little too soon. But I could get back into an acting class where we do scenes and perform them in front of people and just see, does this spark me artistically? Because I don't know if I ever allowed myself to really, I loved doing theater when I was a kid. I loved it when I was a teenager. I loved it when I was in college. I really loved it. I loved being on stage and having that sort of moment where everyone's watching you and you have that silence where you're filling it with your feelings. It's really wonderful. But I think I didn't transition well into film acting because I just wanted to please other people. And that's not bringing yourself as an artist. This is what I talk about a lot in my book about. Don't create for other people. You have to figure out why you want to create, why you need to do it, and how do you do it in a way where when you get the criticism, you're at least putting so much of yourself into there, you feel like you are okay with them not liking it. Criticism is horrible, but if you put your heart into something, you'd be like, you know what, this is what I wanted to make at the time. This is the best I could do. And now that I've seen it and have some distance and have heard some criticism, yeah, I could have done these things better, and I can't wait to apply that to the next thing. Versus like, oh my gosh, I'm the biggest failure. I should never pick up a pen or put my face on screen again, because that's when you're not really making art. Yes, it is a commodity. If it's a business, if it's your career, yes, you have to kind of factor that in. But there should be part of you that is doing art underneath it all. And so, yeah, I think that is a really good question. I'd love to be sweet charity. I'd love to sing on stage. I really would. So if there's an opportunity in LA to do that maybe next year, I would love to jump at it, because honestly, I think it would rejuvenate me in a way that made me more excited to go back to filmmaking. And I would be able to audition in a way where I'm like, you know what, I'm good at this. So here's my take. And if you don't like it, I guess that's cool. Because that's always the feeling you want to get. If you go to a job interview, right? You do your best job interview. You really tell them exactly what you want to do there. You would show them exactly what you bring to the table. And you walk out thinking, you know what? If you don't need me, this isn't the right place for me. You want to have that power when you walk away, not the desperation of like, I really hope they like me. Because that desperation, A, will not make you authentic in the room. And B, what if you get the job? Then you're going to have to act inauthentic every day. What did you talk yourself into? Believe me, I've done it. I have some movies. Woo. Stinky. All right. Boy, there are too many questions. There are too many good questions. David Pettick asks, any advice about doing a job you're good at but not finding joy in it? I ask you because you produced The Guild and ran Geek and Sundry, both big successes, but in your book you said you hated doing both because they stressed you out. Okay, David, these are awesome points. Now, I will say that I love doing The Guild. I loved it. I had an anxiety disorder, so it really drove a lot of my not being able to enjoy my process there. But I was never more fulfilled in my life. And I did things that, just like I just talked about, even though they might not be perfect, I totally was like, this is the best I could do, and I love what I did. I hope you like it. That's the kind of attitude. For Geek and Sundry, I did the same thing. There were some things involving in the business side that really I did not want to have to deal with, and I had to end up dealing with it because we just didn't have the budget to hire people to take care of everything. We were expected to do just too much. Our contract had hundreds of hours of requirements in it, and you just can't do that and make great art. And I think I had an issue because The Guild, we did one season a year, and we do a music video, and that's it. And so if you imagine the number of minutes I made before where I was stressed out already, and then add, like, let's say we made 2 hours of content a year for The Guild, talk about multiplying that by 30. And that's what I had to make the first year of Geek and Sundry. And I wanted to make it all great. And I was hands-on and everything. And I was making my own show with half the help I had on the guild. So, it really was, and I don't blame anybody, honestly. It was, nobody could have known, and I don't know what I could have done in retrospect. You look back and you're like, you know what, I could have protected myself more. If I was my own kid, I would have been like, hell no, you're not doing that. But I didn't learn how to take care of myself, and now I do. So that's why I don't have a company. But to answer your question about doing a good at your job and finding no joy in it, I think that's a life choice for you. I think a lot of people have this mythic quest of like, I just want to find something that doesn't feel like work. Well, no matter what you do, it's going to feel like work. Like when we, I love to live my passions as well, but when it's 4 a.m. and you're still trying to get a tabletop episode out and you're trying to get a licensing agreement, like it's all work, right? You just want to find something that you're enjoying to an extent, or conversely, that doesn't eat up all your time so that you're paying your bills and it frees you up to do the things you really love. My brother tells me that a lot. I don't know if he's working his passion. He's really good at it. I know that he has a lot of passions and he lives them because he makes his work support his passions. And so I think, David, I don't know if you're in a job that you're really good at that you hate a lot, and you're dreaming about maybe walking away or just wishing you could do something else. I would challenge you to figure out how you're using your time and find that passion thing as not your primary care. Because if you turn it into a job immediately, you might actually hate it after a while, right? I did the guild for a year because it was my passion. It didn't really become my job for years financially, So I was always doing commercials along the way, and it was a lot of time auditioning for commercials 7-10 times a week. And I would maybe book one a month, and then that would take me away. And so don't rush to make your passion your business unless you know what the business side is, and you could put up with that because it might ruin your passion. I know that Will Wheaton talked to me a lot about not being able to, do tabletop games for a couple years after we finished, and it's just you burn out, right? Because again, you're commoditizing something that you're loving. And business, if you go back to my answer about Hollywood, yeah, I love acting. I used to love acting, but the commoditization of it took away my love of it, and now I need to rediscover the love before I go to commoditize myself again, or I'm just going to be unhappy again. So, yeah. Now, of course, if you hate your job and you're like miserable all the time and you're having mental health problems and stress and all that stuff, like that's something maybe, you need to work through. And I always urge people, get a professional you can talk to because they can really give you that objective eye that you might not be able to have alone. Maybe if you can't, afford it, start journaling and just write down what you're frustrated at and get your emotions onto the page because you want to get all that out of you in order to really be considered when you're thinking about your life. I'm sorry, that sounded really self-helpy. I'm a person with opinions. You're listening. I can have them. Mirror Image asks, love your podcast. It inspired me to start a YouTube channel. It's been fun and awkward, but anyway, random question. Do you have a favorite free online game you've ever really enjoyed, and what would you suggest for low-income gaming? Really good question. Well, listen. 2 games that really have given me a lot of joy that are really cheap are NetHack, which is free, and Tales of Maj'El, which is $7.99 on Steam, okay? They're kind of similar, actually. If you think about it, NetHack is just like bare bones, keyboard letters, but I spent so many hours as a kid playing that. I mean, Fortnite is free. There's so many MMOs that are free. Lord of the Rings Online, Star Trek Online. Like, if you want free gaming, now, of course, a lot of those are based on a model where you get, you microtransaction it out and all that stuff. But I would recommend getting a game that, there's so many cheap indie games out there. They're always Steam sales, so I would definitely wait for a Steam sale. But, yeah, find a genre. Look at some old games because honestly, I think we're always, especially in the Twitch atmosphere, I feel like even I feel the pressure that you got to play a new game or you're not going to get as many viewers. And I'm like, I really fight that and I just don't care. That's why I play, Littlewood instead of, Fortnite or whatever. Although Amy really wants me to play Fortnite, so I will try it soon. But, old games are awesome. They really are. And gaming should be a pleasure. It shouldn't be a competitive environment and shouldn't be like I'm keeping up with the Joneses. No, you don't need to spend a lot of money on a game. So just dive in. And the Tales of Maj'El, I used to play that constantly when I was traveling on my laptop. And you know what? Now that I talk about it, I'm going to play it now. All right, last question. Rocket Soup asks, Rocket, what's up? Can you talk about collaborating on creative projects? Has it always been easy for you, or did it take time to get used to melding multiple creative visions? While sharing technical tasks is easy, creativity is self-expression. It seems harder to share. Absolutely. It is very hard. And I think that it is a question of chemistry with the other creator. There are many projects that I've started with people where we just didn't jive. You want that person who makes you go, yes, and then this, and then they go, yeah, and then this. And so also, sometimes there's a power imbalance in it where you really have to have somebody leading it. And then the other you have to figure out the dynamic with the person. So maybe you're the visionary and the other person is really good at providing a certain perspective, problem solving, character, jokes, whatever it is that they're, I think it's being very clear about roles and what your strength is. If it's your idea, you need to identify what you need in a partner and make sure you're really specific in seeking that partner out. A lot of us just kind of fall into working with a friend or something. And if it feels like a chore, it might not be good chemistry, I think I've had a revelation in the last, this year I started working on a couple projects with people I really like. Now, I'm a very strong personality, so I'm clearly driving the train a lot. And that's how I like it. Some people might just be like, gosh, I really wish I would work with somebody who has a good idea, but I really am good at giving them notes. And I would really love to just help them make their project better. So again, you're approaching the collaborative process with a very clear vision. If you go in like thinking you're going to be equal partners and the other person is dominating, and these are all things you really have to work out verbally with the other person. So it's about communication as well as creativity. And if you're not on the same creative page, if you're really being like, wow, this is this person's creativity and all my ideas are not really responding to them, you might want to just talk about it and be like, hey, you know what? I feel like I'm not really contributing in a way that's adding to what you want to do. And since hey, we're supposed to be partners here, but I feel like we're not meshing. What can we do to help work out? So just being really transparent about it. And then, the one time you work with somebody that is a joy, you'll be like, oh, I want that every time. I've been in writing rooms where it was such a chore and you're giving all your ideas to somebody who doesn't appreciate them and they're not taking the good ones and you're just like, ugh. And then I'm in a room where I'm like, I can't wait to get online and work with you. So it really is a chemistry thing, and it's not a commentary on anybody's abilities. It really is not. Especially you, Rocket Soup. My goodness, you are so creative and so funny. I really wish you could write on MST3K. But so just know that it's not you. It's like any relationship. It's not always going to work. And I think treating it like a relationship. I have a lot of people who are writing partners that they go to therapy. They literally have a therapist and they go there and they work out their differences. So it's just as serious a relationship and chemistry-based thing as any other relationship with anybody. And so being transparent, being open, and realizing, you could be that person's best friend, but maybe your creativity doesn't mesh, and that's okay too. All right. Oh, you know what? There was one last question that I really want to address, and I'm going to do it. Sorry. Drake High asks, can you give any advice on how to overcome fear of being strict with your child when they're unhappy and want their way? Drake High, this is a really great question, and I'm going to start by just urging you to listen to Janet Lansbury. She has an incredible podcast about childhood, childcare problems. She is so patient and wonderful. Her books are wonderful. They're the only parenting books I would ever advocate for people to read. They're so easy to read and concise, and they really formed everything I do as a parent. So that's my perspective. I'm not saying that my methodology is end all be all, but I think all children are inherently very selfish and they want to do what they want to do. And so for me, I listen to other parents, and I would never put somebody in a timeout chair, and I would never talk to the way that a lot of people do. That's just very strict and, raising your voice and all that stuff. That is very anti what I want to do. I want to, rather than get my child to follow my rules, I want to get them to make good decisions. So it's the same thing as I don't want my kid to get good grades. I want my kid to love learning things. So those are the two. Do you see the difference? Because a kid is going to be empowered to make better choices for themselves in all of life if you help them make good choices and regulate their emotions, because that's really what it's about, right? They are greedy and they want to eat all the candy. They are having fun and they don't want to stop for you. They want to draw on the wall. Whatever it is, they want to hit somebody because they have an emotional outburst and they just can't control their hand, right? So you have to look at these things as they're out of control and they need your help versus like they got to be disciplined. That is how I look at it. So when my kid doesn't want to do something, I approach it from, I try to give her the tools of, hey, I know you don't want to do this. It really sucks to have to stop playing right now. Let me give you one more minute and then I'm going to come back and then we're going to stop. And just saying that, like really giving her the tools to understand what she's feeling, because she doesn't understand. She's a little kid. She has no emotional vocabulary about what she's going through, right? Grabbing her hand and being like, I can't let you hit me. I can't. That's unacceptable behavior. I know that you're really angry. Here are some alternatives about how to deal with these emotions, right? So go and hit a pillow. Go have some time alone. Take a really deep breath. If giving them some tools to try to deal with them. And it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have to do it a lot because they're kids. They don't have the vocabulary. You are there to help them through it. And if they're really tired, that's kind of on you. I did a lot of, I would take my kid out and she would get really tired and cranky and then she'd act really bad. That was on me. I took her out too long and I pushed her past the limits of a little kid and what she's capable of. And so I learned, let's not put her in those situations where, she's going to break down. I think a lot of parents are like strict. They get really frustrated. They need things to be done. It's all about patience. Maybe giving them that minute to cry because they don't want to do something and just kind of letting them deal with it and letting them have that emotion. Yeah, please tell me. It's okay. I want to hear that you're upset about this. Yes, let me know. But I'm sorry you're upset. It's okay to be upset about this, but we're still going to have to do this. And just kind of waiting for them to make the decision on their own. There was a great moment the other day when Calliope did not want to get out of the trampoline. And I was like, I totally understand. You're not hungry right now. You really want to do trampoline more. But the food is on the table and we have a lot of things to do. And I need you to understand that we have to eat dinner because we're talking to your grandpa. I really talked to her through it. And I understand it's probably going overboard. And she cried there for a minute. And I was like, I'm not going to crawl in out after you. I really want you to make the decision to come out. And it took probably a couple minutes and she finally came out. And the fact that I didn't have to drag her screaming out of there and she was able to make good decisions, it was so wonderful. It really made me proud of her because it's hard for a kid. She probably didn't want to eat, right? And I was like, I know it's really hard to do what you don't want to do, right? I don't like doing things that I want to do. So having her understand that I get angry sometimes. I don't want to do things. I get angry and this is how I deal with it. I'm teaching her how to cope with situations that she doesn't have the vocabulary to cope with. They're not us. They don't know anything. They're little dummies because they're new and they're changing and they're scared a lot of the times. So I think it's just about empathy. They're not deliberately trying to ruin your life. They're not deliberately trying to ruin something. They're not deliberately trying to, I think, do things that are bad, quote unquote bad. So anyway, I'm not saying that, you should do like me and try not to tell her. I mean, I literally try not to tell her no ever. I will tell her no things for safety things. I tell her it's my job as a mama to protect your body and your heart and your mind. So I can't let you do that. But I'm never, I really try to allow her to be empowered. And now she's turned into a really empathetic person. Yeah, she can be a jerk sometimes, but I think hopefully, and all these lessons I'm talking about are much better put by Janet Lansbury. So I would urge you to check it out, especially around tantrums and things like that. She really does empathetic childcare in a way that makes me happy, and I feel effectively works on my kid. It might not work on your kid, but I don't know, why not start? Because I don't want to teach my kid to yell at anybody, right? And it's so frustrating, and we all get so frustrated sometimes. But hey, I want her to treat her kid the way that I treat her. And yeah, anyway, that's my parenting rant. I'm sorry I've talked a long time, but I really enjoyed this podcast, and I enjoy talking to all you. And thank you so much for your questions. Please send me more. Sean Santa look. Thank you. And again, I appreciate all the support. Nab my book. And if you have it and you haven't gone through it, now is a good time. All right. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.